What's going on, people? This is S. Foster, and you are tuned into another episode of 28 Minutes or Less. And this is episode 34 of the podcast. Man, I got a very special guest on with me today. This is the person, if you listen to every episode, you hear me shout out this person every week. There's a reason why I shout this person out every week. You know what I'm saying? She is in tune to the podcast, supports the podcast, give me feedback on the podcast. Finally got her on with me today, and that is the homegirl Candice. Man, how you feeling today?
Feeling good. What's up?
Oh, I can't call it. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you, just putting out content, watching content. That's all I do, man. It's just really a lot of content. With doing 3 podcasts, you got to be able to, dive into all that different stuff. Because I do one sports, I do one movies, and this one is just all over the place. Like I actually was telling my homeboy on Scoots, I was just like, I should have named this podcast Spur of the Moment because that's what it is a lot of the times. It's just what I'm feeling at the moment, and then I just put a podcast out. So that's all I'm doing nowadays: working, putting out content, keeping up with these kids. That's already a task right there.
Right.
But yeah, I wanted to. I shared this story before, um, but we never got your point of view on it. So this is gonna be interesting because I didn't ask you because
It
this is this is
is.
gonna be this is gonna be a surprise to me. Uh, so there was November the 9th. My homeboy Casey, the person to do background music for this podcast, he had took me out. I was in some I was in a bad emotional state at the time. So he was just like, yo, I'm gonna get you out. You know what I'm saying? We ride to Charlotte, go to the show. You know what I'm saying? We go get something to eat. So we chilling around town. So then we end up going in, and then like before the show had started, it was right before the show had started. You had came up, and then like you and Casey was talking, and like Casey is a very outgoing person. I'm not.
Me either. Me
I
either.
am I am an introvert. Like I don't just randomly talk to people. It's just like I usually just stay to myself. You know what I'm saying? Try not to be like I'm the person that I try my best not to stand out in a room. So I'm just laid back. And so like y'all was talking, then the show kind of started up, you know what I'm saying, with the people that was opening. And that was pretty cool. T.I. son was pretty cool. And then like, Casey had kind of like he was like, yo, like this is Candace or whatever. So I'm like, hey, how you doing, whatnot. And so we getting in the show, we talking, in between the music about, what I'm saying, Crit's albums. I was telling you that I liked it Forever is a Mighty Long Time better than Crit is Here. I remember saying that.
Yeah.
Um and then we were just talking about rap albums and, when it come to Eve and when it comes to Layla's Wisdom and all this stuff. And so not to bore the people, but so then like it gets to the end of the show and Casey's like, yo, like, did you share information with her? I was like, nah. He's like, you didn't tell her about the podcast? I'm like, nah. And so he was like, come on, man, come on, man. She over here, she over here. And so, cause see, he's that person that's like, I am naive to the fact of I'm just like, yo, if you find out about the podcast, you find out about it. If you don't, you don't. But Casey is like really like up in your face about like spreading the news about the podcast and all of this type
Yeah,
of
you
stuff.
gotta promote.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like he be thinking about things that I don't even think about. So like, we went up to you, shared the information with you and all this type of stuff. So then when we left, I don't know if you experienced the same thing, but like there was people out there with cameras and they were just saying that this could be like the
Yeah.
backstage type stuff. So me and Casey talking about the show, and then I didn't think about it again. He was like, "Yo, tell them the podcast, tell them the podcast." So I ended up, saying the information about the podcast and all this type stuff, and so that's basically how that went. So, what was your side of the story when it comes to that show?
Man, working for it. So been working there for a while. I work night shift. So
Hmm.
I get off Saturday morning. I was like, I gotta go to the show. So I got off Saturday morning, got up, took a nap, hopped on a road, drove to Charlotte. For y'all don't know, Ford's in Kentucky. That's about a 7-hour drive. So I was like, I gotta go. I get there to Charlotte about 6 o'clock. I'm gonna be late. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be late. And that's when I walk in, had me a drink, and then met you guys. And I was just like, whoa, because I always meet somebody new when I go to a different town. I like meeting new people. It's a way to get me outside of my comfort zone because I'm also an introvert, just like yourself.
Mhm.
Might have never guessed it, but I'm really low key. I like to be low key also. I don't like all the attention to be on me. And I think that's what you see in rap too, because I think even though rap is as talented as she is, to me, she seems like she's still kind of low key, kind of
Mhm.
not demanding all the attention. Even when the light's on her, she tries to shed that light and shine it on others around her. And that's what I love about her.
Oh yeah, like she is definitely like, and I mention it all the time, and I know people probably get tired of me saying it, but just like I love that about her because like not only is it that, but it's just the fact of like she literally got there off of her talent. And I
Yeah,
think that there are so many people because like one thing that I hate is reality TV. I think reality TV is so trash, and it's like we putting
terrible.
untalented people on TV and they getting paid to act a fool. And it's like a lot of them got there because of their looks. And it's just like when it comes to rap, like we know, like even when you look back at like people like MC Light, Monty Love, Queen Latifah, Lady of Rage, like all of these women, like it was just talent that got them where they
Yeah.
were. And it's just like for like I love that. Like I don't love that whole little, like little Kim. Like now, Kim could spit though. She
Yeah.
could spit, but it also benefited her the way she dressed and the way she appeared to others. So I just love how she's able to use her talent. Now she knows that she'll never get as big as like a Cardi B and all this type stuff because
Right.
she's not sexualizing herself. But
Right.
I hate to keep repeating it, but I think it's important though.
No, it really, really is important because there's so many women that's how they get their shines by showing their body. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's for them because I feel like everybody's got a lane or a space. Everybody's got their own space because I like Lil Kim. I rock with Cardi B.
Hmm.
But like you said, there's something really authentic about that, about rap, staying herself, never showing skin. And she's just always been a spitter from the start, but just watching her blossom up and grow up in this hip hop game and get that acknowledgement from everybody through her talent, like you said, and not through showing skin or through something that scandalous that could have happened or anything, or pulling any stunts or anything like that, because that happens a lot too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Did you ever? I do remember because we was looking at like her schedule a lot, like what was coming up and all that type of stuff, and she was supposed to be going to Raleigh like a couple of months later or something like that.
Yeah.
Did you ever end up going?
Man, I had tickets to her last show in Raleigh. I was like, man, but it got canceled due to COVID. I was so looking forward to that because I was bringing my best friend with me because she had never heard of rap, but everybody was like, I see a change in you and you glowing and stuff every time you talk about rap. And I'm like, yeah, you don't get it, but you'll know when you see her. And I just felt like it was going to be her moment. So I was just hoping to be there for that moment because that's like her hometown. So I knew there was going to be big names there, probably to finally give her flowers and give her the love that she's long overdue.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I felt like that show would have been like the one because I definitely wanted to go
Yeah,
too. And you know what? I forgot it ended up getting canceled for COVID because like a lot of people probably don't know that she went to North Carolina State. And you know
right.
what I'm saying? And that's in Raleigh. So backstory on that. So because I think rap got me by like 2 years, I think. But I could have possibly went to North Carolina State. I
Wow.
had
Okay.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? My old football dreams, I ruined that real quick. That was one of those situations where when it's when you realize something but you realize it too late. Like I had a scholarship offer to play football at North Carolina State. And I was talking to the coach and he was just like, looking at your GPA, it's like, man, you need to make a 1250 on your SAT just to get in. I'm like 1250. Like I was like, well, that's probably not going to happen. So So that dream got shot down pretty quick after the SAT. I wasn't nowhere near 1250. So I just had to kind of let those dreams go there. Had ended up going on a lower level, but man, I could have been not gonna lie, I could have met rap when it was developing. You know what I'm saying when she
Yeah,
had
'cause
the
she was spitting in the tunnel.
yeah, spitting in the tunnel with the group that she had.
Yeah,
But
cool guy.
yeah, yeah, man. That I love that what was it? Rapson, what they call that show? It was on Netflix.
I
Rapture.
think I know what you're talking
It was
about. I seen her
it
on
was
there too.
yeah, did you ever see that?
Yeah, I went back and watched everything rap that I could possibly find. So I was just taking it all in, and more I learned, and more I listened to her, and just I was like, whoa, it just blew my mind. Just made me want to be like, I apologize. I'm sorry, rap. I'm sorry. Just was so late to be on to her, but yes,
Yeah, that happens though. I think that sometimes there are diamonds in the rough there, but I think the way that she raps though, and the way that she present herself, like I think that she knew it would have been a grind, for what
yeah,
people, because I think that the rap game has gotten to a place where it's a lot of catchy songs. You know what I'm saying? It's not really about the lyrics as much anymore. I think that they still matter, but from a woman's point of view, like how do, because I never asked this to a woman before, like how much do lyrics matter to you as far as like being a spitter?
now, for me, lyrics is huge because I am a big, big, big Nas fan. I like Jay, but I like Nas more because I
Mhm.
feel like I'm always learning something from Nas. I feel like he's clever. There's a song called Rerun where he spits the whole story backwards. Like he's telling the story, but he spits it backwards. And the way he rhymes it is so tough. So for lyrics, to me, lyrics matter, but I get and understand what you're saying because when I'm around my sisters or my nieces and they listen to hip hop music on the radio, and I'm thinking like, do you know what you got your kids listen to? Do you know what they really saying? She's like, then I showed her one time. She's like, they be saying that. I can't play it some more. So I don't think people pay attention. Like you said, it's just catchy choruses, hooks. It's not so much about the lyrics on the radio when it comes to radio and TV, which is what most people a lot get their music by. But Spotify is putting a dent in the game though, because everybody's on that Spotify too with the
Mhm.
playlist. That's how a lot of people learn about new people. That's how I learned about new people from listening to a rap album, and then maybe somebody new comes on next. I'm like, who is this? I never heard of this. Oh, let me go check them out. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. This is pretty cool. So that's how I learned about a lot of new people. But you're definitely right. Lyrics is not as big as they used to be.
Oh yeah, man. I hate it. Now I mean that stuff it has its place in the game. Like I think everything has its place in the
Right.
game, but I think at the end of the day, like you're gonna gravitate to the things that you gravitate to. And then like to even get back on rap, like I remember because I brought this up when we were just talking before we started recording, was you put up a picture, what was that, high school when you was balling?
It was middle school, but yeah, I bought in high school too. But yeah, I used to play basketball in middle school. I've been playing since fourth grade when I was the first girl on the basketball team. There were no other girls except for me. I couldn't dribble too much, but I could shoot. So they was
Oh
like,
man,
"Yeah,
hold
you
up.
on
Don't skip
the
over that. What you mean you was the only girl on a basketball team? So you had to be a hooper
team."
for real.
Yeah, I've been hooping, man, since like I said, since fourth grade. I didn't know I was gonna make the basketball team because it was all boys. I think it was maybe one other girl, but like I said, I could shoot. And I've always played with the boys. I've always been a tomboy, and that's another reason rap appeals to me. Because when you coming up a girl as a tomboy, they always constantly like, "Why you don't dress up? Why you don't do this? Why you don't do that?" Because that's not me. That's not what I feel comfortable with. So instead of playing with Barbies, I was outside playing football with the boys. I was outside playing 21 tip on somebody's uh, goal in the backyard or something. So I've always just been a hooper and tomboy.
Oh man, that sounds like my sister. Well, one of my sisters, she's always been a tomboy. So I'm used to. I'm actually used to being around tomboys, like, cause like people. I don't see. That's why I'm an introvert. 'Cause I don't like people. Like I really don't like interacting with a lot of people because like they'll say some things that just don't even make no sense. Like no, for real. Like I was talking to this one guy, and we was talking about like the women's NBA, and he was like, "You watch women's NBA?" I'm like, "Look, man, them girls be balling." I'm like, if you want to
Yeah.
see like, you know what I'm saying, how a pro offense is ran, like women just run it better because a lot
Yes.
of the times it seems like there's not a lot of ego. Like it's more about the fundamentals of the game.
Right.
And so, and I was telling this guy this, and he was just like, man, nah. He was like, man, the game is above the rim and all this type stuff. I'm just like, man, come on, man. Because he was one of those guys that's like, if they lowered the rim to like 8 foot, that more people would watch the game. And I was like,
Yeah.
nah, nah, nah.
I mean, they catching oops now too. They ain't dunking or nothing, but they still catching alley oops and laying it up and everything. But yeah, they balling too.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So what happened to your hoop dreams?
Man, when I was in high school, as a junior, I tore my ACL and one of my knees.
Ah,
Came back, was hooping strong. Got to college, I was like, I'm gonna try to walk on because I wasn't really looking to play for real, for real. But then I was like, no, basketball is like my first love. So I was like, I'm gonna try to walk on. Get to playing intramurals, tore my ACL in my other knee. I was like, I'm done. I'm retiring because I ain't going through this no more. I'm like, this is crazy.
oh man, where you end up going?
I went to Eastern Kentucky University.
Oh, okay, okay. I heard of that. Heard of that. Man, man, intramurals ball to get you. Look, it got me. It
I
got me.
heard on the last
Yeah.
podcast you talking about your Achilles.
Oh no, no, that wasn't the murals. That was just me.
Oh,
That was
oh
just me
wow.
balling like my one of my homeboys like they can get a key to one of the church gyms. So we would just like every Sunday we would just go. Well, not every Sunday, but most Sundays we'd go in there and go ball. And but no, what happened to me? I had ended up going to Fairmont State University in
Oh,
West Virginia on a football scholarship. So I was up there, and it was in the off season, and so football players we put together a couple of intramural basketball teams,
right.
and like man, we are just dominating these dudes,
That's what I
man,
better
like
say, blowing
dominating these dudes.
everybody out.
And man, I get a fast break, and like I've always had this thing of like, what I'm saying, I get really anxious when I get a fast break because I'm like, man, okay, what kind of dunk I'm about to do? And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and then I went up one hand, and then I was like, nah, I'm gonna go two. So I went up two hands, and like I was going so fast, it was gonna be a swing back situation. So I was like, I'm gonna hold on to the rim and throw myself back. While I was trying to throw myself back, I slipped off the rim.
Oh wow.
And then I fell down and I fell like this, like on my hands.
Woof.
And I thought, oh, I'm good, everything good. But I finished the game. And so then like after the game, I had went home and then like my wrist just started hurting. I was like, oh man, wrist hurting. I woke up, man, it seemed like it was a baseball in my wrist. And so then I ended up
Dang.
going to the doctor and I broke my wrist. And I was just like, damn. Then he tells me it's the worst spot that you could break. Like I fractured the worst bone in there. He said it's where 90% of the blood flow go to your hand. So he was like, so you play football? And he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. He was like, so do you want to get the surgery or do you want to, get the cast? Because I would have to wear a cast for 6 months, or get the surgery and I could be back on the football field. But I had a lot of stuff going on at the time. It's like I got a broke wrist. You know what I'm saying? I had to use my difference check money to get another car, and then I had a baby on the way. They were just like, man, you know what? I was like, forget it. So that's that's when my college hoop, not even hooping, but football dreams went down. Is when I had broke my wrist, and I was just like, man, I'm just gonna call it here. So that's how I ended up finishing that. But nah, that wasn't no, that was just balling. That was just balling with the guys, man. When I tore my Achilles, that was terrible. Girl, I'm still feeling it. Still feeling it. It still ain't right. It still ain't right. But I bring that up because I mean that's something that you and Rap got in common. Like, cause she was a ball. I mean, I don't know how good she was. I seen a little bit of
She
film.
got some handles now. I don't know about. I ain't heard about a J. I seen a J, but she got some handles.
Yeah, man, that is so funny. That is so funny. So is that how? So how did you ended up getting so much into sports like you are? Because like you be hitting me with some comments sometimes, and I be like, man, she really know the game. Like we ain't talking just basketball. Like you be knowing some football and everything. Like how did you get so much into the game like that?
Well, I grew up with my cousins. I had two cousins. one Robbie, one Joanne. We all was always playing baseball, football, basketball in the house, outside, backyard, hide and go seek. We was always doing something. So my cousin was always playing 2K back when everybody was on live and not 2K, but everybody he used to play live, used to play baseball, and I always had to go along and tag along because we within months of apart each other. So it's more like brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So watching him and coming up with him, that's how I fell in love with sports. Definitely basketball. My dad's a huge, huge basketball fan. And he could shoot too, but he's just short. That's why he didn't make it. But yeah, just playing ball with him all the time. And then as I started playing with the guys, I got pretty good because the guys, they don't show no mercy on you. They block your shot. So you learn how to throw a hook or you learn how to shoot that fadeaway or that teardrop or so playing with the guys, that was a lot of fun. Just I like just being active and outside. I was one of them kids that was always outside. You had to always tell me to come home because I never wanted to come in. Football, that kind of came naturally because I think I'm just naturally athletic in mostly all sports. I could throw a football pretty decent. I played flag football in high school and college too. And I was usually a quarterback, and I usually played defensive end because I could catch pretty good. So just a huge tomboy, and that's what I get too from rap. And I can tell how when she talks about stories of growing up with her cousins, that's how she learned how to play basketball and riding dirt bikes and stuff, and hearing about her stories as far as that also.
Okay. So like who's your teams though? Like what we talking about?
When it comes to basketball, right now I'm an OKC fan. I was an OKC fan back when Durant was there and back before KD got there. Matter of fact, I guess back when they went from Seattle to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's when I became a OKC fan. But I'm a fan of basketball in general. I just want to see a good game. I don't care who's playing. I just want to see a good game. When it comes to the NFL, Eagles, that's definitely my team. Going back to Donovan McNabb, T.O., Dawkins, all them. Uh, but any sport, I just want to see a good game. Only sport I can't get with is baseball, just because it takes too long for something to happen.
Yeah.
I ain't got the
That is
patience.
so true.
Football, I love seeing the hits, the big hits. I think I was talking to you about that hit that I think it was Cunningham or somebody from Michigan State said a mean block or somebody from Ohio State and just laid him out. And I was just like, oh, and I think this was maybe 10, 15 years ago. This was a while ago. I think I was still in high school. And that's when I really, really became a fan. When I seen that hit, I was like, man. Um, but yeah, I like all sports. I just want to see a good game.
So
Fan of
so
the
you
game.
so with you being from so are you just like out like right outside of like Louisville or do you like live in
No, I
Louisville?
live in the hood in Louisville, Kentucky. When Breonna Taylor got killed, it was like the police was on strike. So it
Yeah.
was crazy around here. My house got broken into while that was going on.
Oh,
Uh, it was just, it was still crazy. It's still off. It still seems like the police is kind of like on strike against us for protesting for Breonna Taylor around here. But it's been crazy, just like every other city. Every other city's got a spike in crimes and stuff right now. So that's another two reason why rap hits so home with me too, because she speaks on what's real and what's happening out here in the community, and what she raps about in her music a lot too. What she likes to say is from Nina Simone. Nina Simone would always say it's an artist's job to reflect the times, and that's what she does in her music, and that's what she always speaks on. And I think she's always done that from day one too, is reflected on what was going on in the community around her and what she's seen growing up. And that's what I love about her too, because it's real and she brings attention to that issue or whatever issues may be plaguing her.
oh yeah, for sure. And to get just a little bit more into that, because I remember I had hit you and it was before me and Washington was gonna do the podcast. And I was like, well, I know from what Candace told me, she lives around the, the Louisville area. And like, I remember they was, boarding up because I had seen it while I was working,
Yeah.
because because I have, little minutes to go check out Facebook and all this type of stuff. And I was like, they boarding up, downtown Louisville. I think Candace did about that. So I had shot you a message and was like, what's going on around there and all that type stuff. But like, I mean, but your place got broken into. Like you just went over there like it's not nothing. Like like, did they take a lot
Man.
of, what I'm saying, valuable goods? I mean,
What's crazy is before that happened, like two other guys, one guy had came up to the house, rung the doorbell, and tried to force his way into the house when I opened the door.
oh,
And I mean, luckily I had my foot behind the door, so he couldn't really push the door wide open. And I kind of just looked at him like, what are you doing? Like, what is going on? And then he just took off running. So I guess he was trying to break in the house. And then another guy, maybe about a week or two later, came knocking on all the doors around the house. And I was like, he must have been scoping the place out. So that was signs that I knew it was coming. They didn't really take much. Another thing I have in common with rap is I'm a big shoe fanatic. So what they came in and took was a pair of Jordans, some
ah,
Air Maxes and stuff. Um, but they didn't really take nothing valuable. They didn't take no TV or no computers or nothing. But yeah, it was crazy.
man,
It
that
was
is
crazy.
wild, man. That
It's
is
still
so
crazy
wild.
right now because we got cameras, so it's just like every time somebody come up on the porch or in the fence, it's just like, okay, let me make sure who is this? Make sure they ain't trying to break back in the house again.
Ah, man, I hate you had to deal with it. That's crazy. That is crazy, man. People crazy out here. That's why I'm fool with people. Uh,
Tough
so like,
times.
but it's I'm glad you brought that up because Rap had dropped 12 Problems. It kind of, I mean, I personally felt like it went under the radar.
It did.
Um, but that's really the only new single that she put out last year. And I thought it was so necessary. I thought the video was so
Yeah.
necessary. She has been an advocate for not just Breonna Taylor, but pretty much
Yep.
everybody. But like, she really shined a light on Breonna Taylor and Sandra Bland as well. She's really looking out for like a lot of the black women that are going through the things that they went through, and like even a story like you just told just now. I mean, that's very relevant to be told because I didn't even that never even crossed my mind that somebody would have just tried to break in your house. You know what I'm saying? While you was there, it's not like it ain't like you came home and you were just like, damn, like somebody been in here. Like that's wild
It
and
was just
scary,
like
man.
a
But
perfect storm. When the pandemic hit, the police basically said we not coming out. The police here in Louisville basically put out on the news and said we're not responding to anything like car wrecks and stuff unless it's an emergency, unless somebody's getting robbed or killed or something, we're not coming out. Like it's got to be emergency. When the pandemic first started and they didn't know really how to protect themselves and stuff, they basically said we're not responding to a lot of stuff. So I think they just gave everybody in the city of Louisville up to no good a free fall.
oh well, yeah, that happened. That happened in New York as well. Like when they was talking about defund the police, and they was just like, all right, well, we'll
Yeah.
show you about defunding us. So they just kind of like, can see. I learned
Yeah.
all of that because see, I listen to Ebro in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
they're a New York-based show, so I hear a lot of the things that are going on in New York, and it's just like when he would talk about how they would do stuff like that, and I don't know why it didn't even cross my mind that you was in Louisville and that type of thing could have happened to you, but that's wild. I can't. Like my mind is blown, yo. Like it's crazy. I don't even know how to react to it. But 12 Problems. What you feel about that one?
I think a lot, like you said, I think it went over a lot of people's heads. Like it seemed simple the way she was rapping it, but if you really listen to her words and how they was broken down, I think you spoke about this too in one of your previous episodes on how she was talking about every month March, and Nick's killers in jail. Y'all don't get that part.
Oh
And
yeah.
she's like, when we out here killing each other, they make sure we get locked up. But when the police is out here killing us, they on administrative leave, still getting paid and stuff. So I think they went over a lot of people's head. And I think it went over a lot of people's head too, because Breonna Taylor was killed in March. George Floyd was killed in March. I think Nipsey was killed maybe early February or late March. I think his anniversary of his death is coming up, matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that his killer's in jail, but George Floyd's killer, he's not free, but he's not charged with nearly what he should be charged with. He killed somebody on camera and just watched the life come out of him. Breonna Taylor, they killers are still free. So it's interesting today. I don't know if you heard the update. The officers that was in that case, they did lose their jobs, but some of the jurors on that jury that sat in the grand jury, they filed a impeachment papers against the attorney general here to try to get him removed from his job. I don't know if it's gonna do anything, but it's definitely worth taking that step because justice still hasn't been served here. Definitely.
Oh well, we're seeing a lot of cases of that. I mean, it just
Yeah.
seems like it's to the point. I hate to be desensitized to it, but like it gets to the point
You
where,
have
especially like when you know your history,
yeah.
like when you go back and do like there's something that I got planned this month was I'm gonna take a couple of people, and what I'm gonna do with this podcast, I'm gonna do a Black History Month. So I'm gonna do a
Okay.
couple of episodes on some people. I think it's very obvious because I talk about this person all the time, but that's because I know so much about him. Like, I mean,
I already know
the
you
next
going.
episode, man, is gonna be Fred Hampton. Like that
I
dude is
already
just,
know.
he is just. I'm so happy. Listen, I'm so excited about Judas of the Black Messiah that's coming out
Me too. It looks
here
good.
in what, in 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
I am so excited for it. Like I'm like beside myself. But how did you get so supportive? You know what I'm saying? Because we don't see a lot of people just really, what I'm saying, support people. Because I posted something the other day. It was a guy. I don't think I posted on Instagram. I posted on Facebook with this guy. He was holding this sign. You might have seen it. And he was like, "We need to support." What was it? It's like something about we need to support people. Well, you need to support other people's dreams, like y'all support these celebrities who don't even know you. And I was just like, damn, like it was so deep because I was like, oh, I need to share this. And we don't really do that for people that are
Right.
not famous. So how did you get so supportive? Because it was like to me, like I mean, I'm just telling you from my point of view. Like I remember like when I had told you about it, because I was on SoundCloud at the time, and like you had commented on one of them. And so I hit Casey. I was like, Casey, I was like, man, she actually listened to an episode. And he was like, for real? I was like, yeah. I was like, it's crazy. So then it was just like, I put out another one, like you're coming on another one. I was like, oh shit, like she really listening to the podcast. Because like when it comes to doing this, like anytime I speak to anyone about a podcast, they always tell me, oh well, everybody don't listen to podcasts. And I'll be like, well, they'll sit there and support that local rapper that's around the way. But I
Mm-hmm.
was like, what I'm saying, but I'm not getting that same love. They'd be like, well, you do a podcast. A lot of people don't sit down and listen to radio. And then I mean, I ain't trying to be funny, but I was like, man, some of these local rappers I know are trash. And like everybody like reposting their stuff, and it sounds like everything else that's
Yeah.
out there. But how did you become to be as supportive as you are?
Well, I'm gonna tie this back to rap too. She always talks about, if you want people like me to blow up, speaking of herself, if she wanted people like Rapsody to blow up or like K Dot or some of these other artists that's talking about the real, you gotta support them and put your money behind them. Post them on social media. But with the podcasting, I think you're definitely ahead of your time because a lot of people, they are working, they can't focus and watch an actual visual episode of something, but they can listen to music. And I think with the environment that we're in now, we have to stay on top of the news and what's going on every day because we never know what's going on. And that's where the podcast comes in. And that's what I like about your podcast is that you also kind of reflect the times too, because you speak on what's happening around you, what's happening in sports, what's happening on the political side a little bit that may be affecting you or affecting just us as a whole. So I
Yeah.
think when you support what you love, you'll get more of that. And I think that's what more people need to understand, that we're the drivers. We just got to put our money and our support behind it. And that's why I also ride so hard for ride so hard for you, because I think you speak on your truth. You speak your truth, and everybody's got a voice. And somebody out there is going to relate to what you say. And I relate to what you say because I remember you talking about you didn't get that love or that support as much from your mother. And I felt like I didn't really get that from my mom because my mom wasn't the lovey-dovey type either. So it's good to get that reinforcement, just that affirmation from others to know that, oh, okay, I'm doing something good. I'm doing something right. And this feels good doing, and I enjoy doing it. So I'm going to keep on doing that. And I hope you keep doing this podcast and just keep rocking with it because you getting bigger and bigger every year. It's slow, but anything that comes slow, you're going to keep for a long time. And she speaks on that also, too.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like when you listen, even when you listen to like the famous people, like I listen to Joe twice a week. Joe Button, and he was
Yeah,
like,
I
"Yo, it
listen to
took
him
us
sometimes,
like,
too.
they're like, look, it took us like 4 or 5 years to get to where we are now." You know what I'm saying? And that's with Joe.
Yeah.
He has some records. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Pump It Up is the one, but I mean, he still was, in the public eye, and he was still saying
Yeah.
like, "Yo, it took me time in the podcast game to, get to where we are at this point now to be the number one podcast." Not saying that I'm trying to shoot for that. Like my whole thing is, one thing I never wanted to do was to speak, not even necessarily just speak on things, but like not just do something for clout.
Right.
And like I know that I could, you know, take that left turn and be like, yo, I'm just gonna I'm like Casey used one example. He's like, man, just act like you're a Trump supporter. He was like, he's like, that'll pull people in. And I was like, but you know what? I said I wouldn't be myself though. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I wouldn't be authentic. So
Right.
I will keep speaking on the things that I like speaking about because I feel like I have my own avenue of where I need to
Yeah.
be. And like the people that I speak on or I speak to, like even when it comes to my guy Jamar, that I went to high school with, that's up in Philadelphia now.
Hmm.
He reached out to me. He was like, "Yo, because because he seen, I guess I was really the only person that he knew that did a podcast. So like he reached out to me and like, I told the dude, everything that I knew, what I'm saying, about how to record it, the type of equipment that I had, all this type of stuff. And so, he started his podcast. But the thing with Jamar is, I mean, Jamar is retired Navy man.
Okay.
So like Jamar he ain't got no job or nothing. So he, so he could, put all
You
his
can really put the
time.
work in, put the hours
Yeah.
in.
And
Yeah.
then he ended up, doing his internship, and now he's working for I think NBC Sports, and and they a branch of ESPN, and like he would tell me like, you like, dude, that came from you. He was like, I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for you. And so like then like when I hear like things like that, and it's like, well, damn, well maybe I'm doing something right, by doing what I'm doing it and doing it the way I'm doing it, and to be going into my fourth year of the Stolen Time podcast, like like him, Scoots, and like everybody always tell me like, man, you the OG in the game, because like I was like the first one to really start podcasting. And I gave Casey, he asked me for Charlemagne's book, because I told him I had that book, a couple years back,
Okay.
the black privilege opportunity
Mhm.
comes to those created. So he asked me, could he read it? So I gave it to him, and then he hit me. He was like, "Yo," he's like, "Man, that was a great book." He was like, "It's very inspirational." And I was like, "Dude, I told you when I got done reading this book, like that very next week, I started the podcast." Like I went to at the time, I went to Radio Shack when Radio Shacks was still open. I went to Radio Shack. I bought some mics. I came up with a name for the podcast and all that type of stuff, because that book like really inspired me to, to start something, to do something. Because at the time I was doing, YouTube videos, and I was writing a blog on, I don't even remember what site I was on. I was writing a sports blog, and I was
Okay.
just like, no, so I was like, because I was always
That's what I was about
into
to say. It sounds
content.
like you always had your foot halfway in the door. You just wasn't ready
Yeah,
to take a leap of faith yet. I'm glad you did.
yeah. So that's where I got. Did you ever read that book?
No, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I've definitely heard great things about it.
Oh yeah, man. Charlemagne. That's my guy, man. Like, but the thing is, I used to listen to Breakfast Club every day, and I don't know. I'm just annoyed with Envy. Like Envy kind of get on my nerves. Like I don't really like Envy voice. Like I don't like his voice, man. It just don't come off well, and I just got to the point where it's just like I can't really listen to him like I used to. I mean, I'm on Brilliant
Yeah.
Idiots though. You know what I'm saying? I stay on Brilliant Idiots, but
I listen to them sometimes when they do certain interviews with different people.
okay. What other podcasts do you listen to? What other things you interested in?
I listen to Lovely T. Before all this pandemic stuff hit, she used to talk about a lot of real stuff and real topics too, as far as this light skin and dark skin thing that seems to keep coming up in the media. She used to talk about what's going on in politics, but of course, those don't get as many views because you're talking about real stuff instead of celebrities. And
Hmm.
then Instagram started dinging her, so she kind of fell back from reporting on that type of stuff. So she's back to talking about all the gossip and stuff. I listen to her a lot. Listen to Jamil Hill's podcast.
Hmm.
That's a good one. I do listen to Joe Budden's podcast sometimes. I don't know if you remember, but way back when Joe Budden was with Tahiri, Joe Budden was kind of ahead of his time. He started a video vlog of him and Tahiri and him going through his rap career and stuff. This was kind of towards the end.
Okay.
So he was kind of always ahead of his time on that too. I'm surprised he don't speak on that more, but maybe because of Tahiri. But I used to watch him then. He's always been an entertaining individual,
Oh
always
yeah.
told you his thoughts regardless of how you felt about it. So that's what I always liked about Joe Budden too.
Oh yeah.
Uh, what's another one I listen to? Of course, the Stolen Time podcast. I always listen to that. I like to listen to informational stuff. So, because I
Oh
want to
yeah.
just be working my life away and not learning something. I feel like I gotta get better every day. So if I can't read, I don't have time to watch TV. Let me listen to something informational. And that's what I love about what you guys do on the podcast too. Is sometimes y'all talk about Black history and stuff. Some stuff I didn't know, and I'm like, oh man, let me go find out some more about that. And that's what you also talked about is they don't teach it in school. We don't really learn our real history in school. We got to kind of go out and seek that on our own. And I think that's kind of where we've lost our way as a
Hmm.
people is that we don't want to know enough about our history and what we went through just to get the rights that we have now. So it's kind of people are kind of waking up now. And tying that back to Rapsody too, and that's what I love about rap. She's
Yeah.
always been woke, always from day one. She's always talked about real, giving props to the pioneers, to the Queen Latifahs, the MC Lights, Asada, Afeni, everybody. I mean, that's what I love about her. She's always got respect for those that came before her.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. That was something that I really wanted to do with my podcast. Like whether I become like the one of the most popular or not, it's like, I don't want to sell myself short on that type of content because I was mad at myself for not even knowing about some
Yeah,
of these people. And it was just like, it didn't really hit me till I was like about 24, 25 years old, where I started to learn about some of these people. Like, I've been missing out all this time. And it's just
yeah,
like, I've been wanting to, it's like, I just want to share like the things that I know. And it's just
yeah,
like, and that's what this platform allowed me to do is to share the things that I know and I want to share with the world. So I want people to be able to learn something and be like, oh, well, I never heard about this person. Let me go back and research them. Like Casey told me, he was like, dude, now I know this ain't the most educational guy, but like the last
yeah.
episode I did was on Larry Davis. He was like, dude, I've never heard of Larry Davis. And he was like, till you did that
I had
podcast
not
on him.
either until you brought him up.
And I was just like, man, like I used to be just captivated. I actually just started. I don't know if you've seen it. they got American Gangster like Trap Queens or something like that.
Uh-huh.
BET. Like I just watched 2 episodes of that this past weekend. So I
Okay.
mean, I like the other ones a little better, but I mean, like some of these, it's like I don't know. It's like a newer version. It's just like it
Yeah.
seemed different, like in the '80s. Like
Yeah.
those drug dealers in the '80s and early '90s are different. Like
True.
it felt a little different. But like I like to be a little educational and and try to let people in on some stuff that they may not know about. Or if they do, that's also a good thing too, is to hear something that you already know. But Candice, man, I really, truly do appreciate you coming on to the podcast with me. It's been a treat. I've been trying to get a female on the podcast though, so I'm glad that it was you, uh, because I feel like, I mean, look, I'm still thinking about like somebody just literally broke in your house and like, like this is crazy. This is so crazy. But
Oh, I know what I was gonna tell you. Something else. The reason rap too rings a lot with me is she raps about her fight to get respect in the music biz. While she was going through that, I was working at Ford, and we work in a factory, especially a truck making factory. You working with a lot of young white males, older white males, a lot of males mostly. There's some females there, but mostly males. And they treat you like you can't do something, or they make it extremely hard on you to where you think you feel like you can't do something. So I felt like I was just fighting, and Eve, that album was motivation for me to keep going every time I felt like, man, why am I doing this? I have a degree. Why am I pushing through this? But I finally, after almost 3 years, got hired on it for it just this past 2 weeks.
oh
So
man,
I'm
congratulations.
thrilled about that. But yeah, that album kept me going. Kept me going.
That's what's
Kind of
up,
like
man.
you said, Kid Cudi kept you going. That album kept me going. I feel like, and also too, when you was talking about Kid Cudi, you was going through all of that. I was coming out of a breakup in a relationship I had been in for maybe over 10 years, and I felt like I just gave everything until I didn't have nothing left. So I felt devalued. I didn't feel confident in
Hmm.
myself. Felt I didn't never go out. I stayed at home. I didn't want to really talk to nobody or anything. I was depressed, kind of like you, and I felt like I kind of just snapped me out of my depression, just woke me up and just kind of reminded me, like, you know who you are, look at what you came through and all that. That's what that album was for me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Look, I was in that relationship for 12. I mean, 12 plus, and it was just like, it's so different,
Yeah,
especially when it's, your adult life, because like we started dating when I was 21. You know what I'm saying? So it was like,
yeah,
you spend your adult life with somebody, then it's just like boom. It's
man,
like now you know what I'm saying, parenting on your own, and it's just like,
man.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy, but like, when I think of Cudi, man, like Cudi, like even before like anything, because I mean, wasn't that like bad really going on in my life in 2010? It was just like his music. Like this took me from issues that I had from when I was a kid. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? With being, antisocial, being a introvert, and like just not having a lot of confidence in myself, and feeling like, because I wasn't getting attention from certain girls. I'm like, oh man, I must be
yeah,
ugly and all this type stuff. And then it was just like listening to Cudi, it was just like, yo, like a lot of the stuff he's saying is a lot of the stuff that I feel. And so
like they
then, but
speak in your heart. It's just like,
exactly,
man,
it,
yeah,
it, it feels like they're talking like to you. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain songs that they will put out, and it's just like, yo, that song, man, like it's got to be about me. And then like what really got me was when um Mac came out. Now swimming was good. I like swimming. But like when Circles came out, and it's so crazy because it came out after his death.
mm-hmm,
So, I was feeling a little ways about it, but then like once I got to listening to it, and then I
yeah,
was really dealing with a lot of shit, and it was just like, yo, like this is exactly what I need. Like it's
man,
this album. So like it's certain people that do it, like that really touches you, and I could tell that rap is that person for you. Now I mean, she's that person for me, but just in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
she
that's
doesn't.
understandable. Yeah.
Yeah, like she doesn't like really affect me like emotionally. Not like Cuddy and Mac does. And then like they're two both was depressed people, who
Yeah.
was dealing with a lot of things, internally and externally. So it was just like I felt like I was doing that as well. So I can see, but I can see though. But y'all got some similarities though. Actually, I told Casey like when I first seen you because you had the hat on and stuff. I was like, hey man, don't she kind of look like Rap? I was like, I like she got like a
Honestly,
light skinned
you're
Rap.
like the third person to say that. Like, I'm like, I don't see it. I'm like, when I seen her, when I physically got to see her and met her and stood beside her, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is like a mirror of myself. Cause like the way she stands, the way that she's built, I was just like in awe. Cause I'm like, man, like she just, I feel like man, she looked just like me. Like she's 1 year older than me. I think we the same age.
I just turned 36 last month.
Okay, we the same age. I'm 36 too. But yeah, she's 1 year older. When I met her, like she's so real, so humble. I was standing there when I first met her to take a picture, and I couldn't even unlock my phone. I was so nervous. So I unlocked my phone. I couldn't even take the picture. She just took my phone and took the picture, and she was just so humble. That just shocked me. Something else about her, I think another song that people missed was Merrily.
Oh, I
When
love
she was talking
Mary
about the view of a black widow. She's got some metaphors and bars in that song that made me be like, whoa, like wow. For example, like when she was talking about Black Widow, young kiddo, tear stained pill, another black man died, wade in the water. I don't mean baptized, because when you get baptized, I always say it's troubled waters. And I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking like, man, that's deep. And she was talking about the killer of Eric Gardner up in New York in that song, and I
Mm-hmm.
love that she touched light on that. Just man, trying to think another song that touches me was Crown when she was talking about, because when I was growing up, but it was common for a lot of people when they was growing up, people would be like, don't forget your crown, especially for kids. They held their head down because you're supposed to be proud. And they always say heavy heavy is the head that wears the crown. So that
Mm-hmm.
metaphor too, if you listen to that EP, it also hit with me too. Let's see another song, man.
What
What's some
about
of the
Through with
songs
Him?
that hit for you, huh?
What about Through with Him?
Oh man,
Oh man, I was supposed to like that song, but that should be ringing off, man. I'm sorry,
man,
it's so hard. It is. I love that song, and I was supposed to love that song, but
it's
like just the
funny
way
you
she
talk
put
about
it
this
down,
song
man. Nah, like with
because you go ahead.
yeah, nah. I was feeling that. I was feeling that like that. Ooh wee. I mean, what really touches me. I mean, Nina is probably one of the hardest songs ever.
Man,
But no, honestly though, like if I had to, I mean, if somebody put a gun in my head, I mean, a roller coaster called Love, man.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, they got my guy music Soul Child on the track. It was just like
yeah,
everything just flowed well. Like I love how she switched the beat up. She known for doing that. Her and Ninth got this
yeah.
thing where they'll switch the beat up on you. And but a roller coaster called Love. That's probably like one of my favorite songs by her. Um,
Man, I don't really have a favorite, but another one. I don't know if you remember Fire.
which one Fire was on? Fire was on.
Fire was on The Crown. Fire was the last track on The Crown. She was talking about I guess she must have went in and rapped this after President Trump became president.
Okay.
And she was just like, what she say? We gonna still be all right. Joy come in the morning. We just got last for at night. The mask came off tonight because we never thought that Donald Trump would be our president. So her saying the mask came off was telling me, like, these are all them people that he came out the woodwork that felt a certain type of way. This is who they voted in. Also, because you didn't vote or you didn't want to vote for women, because she makes a line too about them people that wrote in because they didn't want to vote for Hillary. They want to vote for a woman as president. You owe us because now we got Donald Trump in as president. And I think we learned from this election too, from writing
Uh,
in and not. But that
well,
song was really deep. I wanted a fire part two because that really spoke. That was a real song for reflections of the times. Because that
oh
was back
yeah.
when Freddie Gray got killed in Detroit. I mean, not Detroit, in Baltimore. She made a
Hmm.
reference to him in that song, and she also spoke too on her wordplay on that song too. She was talking about cops never took a day off from killing us like Ferris. We got a bigger will, our will to live as a parent. And I was just like, whoa, because Ferris will and Ferris
Yep.
Bueller's Day Off. I was like, whoa. I was like, damn, like that is so cold.
God, yeah,
Um,
yeah. See, you don't be letting no lyrics get past you, yo. Like I
I
love
be
that.
studying her words, her bars. I'm in awe. Like it's so simple that people don't catch it. Still to this day, I could listen to some rap song and go back and catch a bar and be like, man, like did she really like? Whoa, she really flipped that. Even at the end of 12 Problems, when she was talking about no pause in house, what she say? Do you remember what she said at the end of
Uh,
that? Because that was a bar.
no pause in
Uh,
the house. Oh, well, how did it go?
what she say? No pause in house. Goodness.
Something, something. Who we gonna call now?
Yeah,
Oh man, what was it?
yeah. That was a bar.
Ah,
That first caught my attention before every month March line, but yeah, that one. I'm probably I'm a fan of Eve. I'm probably more of a fan of her old stuff
mm-hmm.
because
I
she
can see that.
was just really, really spitting. Because I feel like with Eve, she tried to make it more broader to appeal to more people,
Mm-hmm.
to appeal to a bigger audience. But I'm a fan of her older stuff because I love East Coast spitters. I don't know why. I have affinity for them because they tell a
Ah,
story. They got the bars, the double entendres. Not nothing against the West Coast or nobody else, because the South we spent too. Because like you said, Big Crit, I love Big Crit too. He got a way of rapping and speaking to your soul too.
oh yeah.
Uh, man, like back to that through with him. Funny thing about that song is before towards the end of my relationship, I knew my ex was cheating on me. I knew he was cheating on me probably with multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard that song, it really hit home because when you still got feelings for somebody, you up here investigating, you like, I know. And it's just like, okay, so what you gonna do if you catch them?
Exactly.
Because it don't mean nothing. So just let them go and not go through all that. And I think a lot of girls, a lot of women need to hear that. Because like if you got to go through all that, then you ain't supposed to be with that person.
Man, look, even look, it's out there for them, and they still won't. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's sad, man. It's sad. Like, I mean, I had to, deal with that from the outside view, like with my sister, like, with her ex. Like they had their whole little stuff going on, and I was just like, man, just leave that dude, man. I like, man, I don't, we don't like him anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, just leave that dude. And it was
Yeah,
just like she kept giving him chance after chance until it got to the point, she left when it was her time, when she felt it was her time to
yeah,
leave. I think that sometimes in
yeah,
relationship, like people can keep telling you, oh man, you need to leave him, but
yeah.
you never can leave somebody till you ready. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that because I mean, not I wouldn't say we all been through that, but like I mean, I went through that. You know what I'm saying? But then you also gotta, because like a lot of the times you'll look back at yourself, you're like, damn, like what I do? You know, I try to do this, I try to do that, but then you gotta think
Yeah.
like, damn, Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it
Right.
don't matter. It don't matter how you look. It don't
Nate
matter
cheated
how
on
much you
Halle
cater.
Berry.
Yeah, like people gonna be people.
Right.
Like my man Ebro say, man, people get cheated on every day, B. Like it happens all the time. Like so I don't think it's like one of those personal problems where you would, take it out on yourself. But I think, you go through that stage. I mean, I went through that stage. It was like, damn,
Yeah.
what did I do? I said, did I do something wrong? It was, so was it this? Was it that? That's why like it's so different for me because like the relationship I'm in now, like we're like we were watching something the other day, and like so this dude was cheating on this girl in this movie, and she was like, "See how y'all do?" I'm like, "What you mean how y'all do?" I was like, "Look, you coming to the wrong one because I was on the other end of that table." So it's just like
Yeah.
I can say, "Look how y'all do," you know what I'm saying? So it's wild, man. But I think people gonna be people. It's I don't think people will leave until they're ready. But like, man, that was a dope track, man. I mean, I know I was supposed to be singing along to it, but that stuff ring off, man. It really do. I mean, pretty much
They
everything she does,
do.
man. I'm so looking forward to another album. Like this pandemic sucks so bad because I know a lot of people aren't putting out albums because they want to either tour or they might have some stuff that only really rings off in the club, so they're trying to hold on to it. And I mean, I don't know. Like I haven't listened. I don't think a lot of new music has even came out this year. But
It's been there've been a lot of mixtapes. That's what's so crazy. That's what's so crazy about rap is before, back when the mixtape scene was real big, that's how I found out about Drake. That's how I found out about J. Cole before they blew up, was back on the mixtape because they mixtapes was so good. It sounded like an album. It was like Drake and J. Cole, they gave us an album for free on the mixtape. And I
hey,
felt that's
hey,
kind of like what,
hey, Friday
uh,
Night Lights still
yeah,
probably might be the best album ever. Cause I love
yeah,
that Friday Night Lights. But I didn't
man.
mean to cut you out.
No, no, that is the best one. Me and my sister drove down to Atlanta for the Dollar and the Dream tour to go see his concert that he did for that album. That was the last Dollar and the Dream tour that he did too. And that crowd was so crazy. It was like we was in a mosh pit and we could feel the floor just bouncing up and down, up and down. I was like, oh my God, this floor is gonna cave through. We was just it was dope. It was so epic. But her song, her mixtape, she starts off with a song about nothing. And that rung true with me too, because she was just like, I just played ball and I rolled my ankle, I was still in pain because we all be out here hooping, doing
Hmm.
whatever, especially when you're in college, you either hoop, you studying, or playing intramurals, or you out partying. And to me, that's what that album was, all in one. And for her to end a track in that album, I mean that EP with Fire, it was just like she was definitely ahead of her time.
Oh yeah. I mean, I hate that because I think that you probably won't be appreciated till it's too late. Not till it's too late, but like they just usually catch on and appreciate people later. They're
Yeah.
just like, you know, for an example, like The Wire. Like The Wire wasn't like a very popular
Classic
show
show.
when it was on, but
Yeah.
then like after it, like everybody caught on to
Yeah.
it, and then they got to watching it, and like people appreciated it when they was already done with I think what all 4 or 5 seasons. Like that's when
Yeah.
it like blew up. I mean, that's when I watched it because like
Yeah.
I
Me
was just
too.
listening to podcasts, and like people just kept talking about The Wire. I'm like, why is everybody talking about The Wire? And then I went back and I started watching it. I was like, yo, this show is dope. And I was like,
Yeah.
but I never watched it while it was on. And I feel like that's what people are going to do to her, or it's going to be a situation where, because it seems like there's a lot of words going around about people retiring early. Like it's going
Yeah.
around with J.
J.
Cole, it's going
Cole,
around with Kendrick.
Kendrick. Yeah.
Drake is, he throwing little stuff out there like he could possibly. I mean, I don't know, but it's just like these people are talking about retiring early, and I get why Kendrick. Like I remember I did I think that's that podcast you were talking about earlier when I did that appreciate. Well, I did one episode talking about not Bri, I'm gonna say Breonna Taylor, Tiana Taylor, when she
Uh-huh.
was talking about retiring, and
That
she
was a
just
shot. That was a shot.
and it's just like she just feels that people aren't appreciating what she's doing, and it's like I get it because there are so many people who they so desensitized to just like this music like it's just lyricless, it's just
I don't
catchy
think
and all
it's
this type stuff.
desensitized, but I think it's programming.
Oh yeah.
reprogramming. Because when you go to school, most majors, even if you in college, you going to school to learn a job.
Hmm.
You constantly taught how to fit inside the machine that keeps America going, that keeps everybody going, but not enough of us want to be entrepreneurs and be different from the group. Because that's how you really make your stamp or your footprint. Nobody, not enough of us are comfortable enough with being our true to ourselves.
Hmm. I
And
mean, it's
school
true.
does not encourage that.
Oh, not at all. I learned so much more when I graduated high school, and even when I went to college, it was just like
Yes.
I didn't really learn much there, and it was just like so that's why I tell like I'm like my youngest son, me and him, we have a lot of conversations, and and he told me that he didn't really want to go to college, and I was just like okay, I was like it's not the worst idea, but at the same time, like you have to figure out what you want to do. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But like I told him, I was like, there's pros and cons of college because like some of the cons is like yeah, if you don't get a scholarship, the money that you're gonna be in debt with and all that type of stuff. But some of the pros can be what I'm saying, networking and actually being out on your own, and that's when you really kind of like learn who you are, especially when you're around people that you don't know. Because when I went to West
Yeah.
Virginia, I didn't know anybody,
Bless
so
your
it was
heart. Because going through West Virginia, woo,
man,
I don't know how
listen,
you did it. That's probably all you
cold.
gotta do.
Cold, girl, cold, and I, it was just so different. But the thing about it was like there was so many like that whole camp, not the whole campus, but like the football team and stuff like that. Like 40% of the people was from Florida, so it was just like
Yeah.
it was a whole bunch of Florida dudes up there,
Yeah.
and like Florida dudes and Maryland dudes. Like that's what mostly what it was. So it was just like they kind of made me feel more comfortable. Just the fact of like, all right, so y'all are from, what I'm saying, not from here, so
Right.
y'all aren't probably comfortable in this environment as well. So to be able to like, network with these dudes and all that type of stuff, and but yeah, it was wild. But I told him like, there's some of the pros and some of the cons, but I was like, you have to understand like what it is that you want to do and know that I learned more out of school than I did in school because, like you said, they're not teaching you those type of things. Like, I mean, look at the stuff that happened. Everybody's talking about it now. The stock market stuff that happened with.
Yeah.
No, we didn't learn nothing like that. They ain't talking to
Right.
us about no stock market. Stocks and bonds and stuff. I mean, I remember in one class they taught us how to, keep a checkbook. But other than that, I mean, they ain't talked to us about money or none of that type stuff. So I'm not opposed to it, but at the same time, it's kind of like like I told him before, I was like, if you do go to college, you need to know what you want to do, or it's gonna be a situation like me and your mom. Like one thing she was upset was she had 2 degrees and I didn't finish, but I still made more than she did. And I was like, and I was like, yo, that's
Yeah.
one of those things. Like you need to know, like before you go to school, you need to know what you want your major to be because you could pick a
Yes.
major that you don't make a lot of money in. Like it sounds fun at the time, but like, oh, I'm gonna go get this degree, and then you get this degree, and then you try to get a job, and it's like, yo,
Yeah.
like they're trying to pay you the same amount as they paying,
Yeah. Somebody
I
that
can,
don't have a degree. Yeah.
yeah. So it's tricky, man.
That's
That's
why
one
you
of those.
speak on that. College teaches you how to think, I think. So I think that's where college is good because it teaches you how to think. It teaches you how to think on a broader level as far as seeing the whole picture. But it's also from a it's not from a unique perspective. But that's where
Mhm.
you come in. But that's where mentors and stuff come in to help you tie all that together. So I definitely say whatever he's interested in, see if he can get a mentor, so somebody he can shadow to see if he would really like that, so he doesn't waste time training or learning about that. But another thing too, to tie back to rap, I don't know if you know, I know you know she went to NC State, but she graduated
Mhm.
with an accounting degree.
Yeah, so she know
And
how to handle that money.
yeah. And she was like, if it's rap don't work out, I got this accounting degree. to fall back on because her family wanted her to go get that good job, get that husband, and that's what women are taught when we grow up. Is we got if we don't have the husband or the kids and all of that, then somehow we failed on some type of level to a lot of people in older generations. So her rap also fights back against that because it's like, no, we don't have to fit that stereotype. And that goes along with Eve is that, we all different. We don't have to fit that stereotype. My path might be a little bit different. I don't have to get married and have kids to define who I am. And that's what that album Eve 2 spoke on.
Oh yeah. It
Uh,
did, it did a lot, man. Like and that's why I never understood. It's like why I was like I'm a dude and I'm going hard for this Eve album, but I don't hear no women going hard for it.
I don't
But
get it
you,
either,
and
man.
it's like what the hell? It's like, but then you know what I'm saying? WAP come out and you know what I'm saying people going crazy. I'm
Man.
like man, I don't even. I didn't even really hear this. The only reason I heard the song was because they played it on Ebro in the morning. So it was just like, so I'm already listening to it. And so I'm like, I'm not giving this song any attention. I was like, I could care less. I was like, that's just not what I'm trying to hear. I was like, I got real bars over here about real
Right.
subjects, real things that's happening in our life right now. And it's just like this is what everybody want to listen to. And look, I don't have anything against Meg Thee Stallion or Cardi B or nothing. It's
Right.
just like you said, they took a different path to get to where there is. And I mean that's fine. You can take whichever path that opened up for you. But I'm not going to give you that's just like, okay, let's take it out of that. That's just like I'm going to give somebody like Jeff Bezos more credit to get to where he is than Donald Trump. Donald
Right.
Trump had help. His dad gave him money. Jeff Bezos started selling shit out of his garage, and he turned it into one like the
He
biggest
was a
company in the world.
stockbroker. He was a stockbroker making good money before he moved back home to live with his parents to sell stuff out of his garage.
True, but at the same time, selling that stuff out of his garage is
Yes.
not the same as buying real estate.
No, that's what
And
I'm saying. Jeff Bezos, he quit a good paying job, a really good paying job, to come back home to Washington to sell stuff
yeah,
out of his
and
garage.
I think that's more impressive.
It
I
is.
mean, me personally. So I just like that's like to me like Meg and Cardi are more like. I mean, I'm not saying this as a diss. I'm just saying, but it's more like Trump
I
and
get
like
it.
she's more like Bezos. Now she hasn't gotten to that. She ain't got that cachet. I mean, to me and you, she does. But as far as because I remember, I don't know if I said this to you, but I said it to Casey. I was like, don't get me wrong. I said this is a nice little spot that we at. But I was like, man, she need to be, you know what I'm saying, in an
Yeah.
arena. You know what I'm saying, like in something that's. I was like, I feel that she has the talent to carry an arena. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I was like, this is cool. I was like, you know what I'm saying, it's a nice spot. We all in here. We paid our money to get
Yeah.
in here. But I was like, I feel like talent wise, she has that talent to be on the national stage. And I was really happy that she got that
The
lyricist of the
BET
year.
Hip Hop Award. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was well
Well
deserved, and
deserved.
I
Yeah.
think that she was so excited. Like I was, yo, I was straight fanning out because I was
Yeah, you
watching the
must be so
video.
excited for her when she was talking about she gonna cry in the car. I'm like, she better cry.
Man, she called her mama and she was talking to her mama.
Right.
I was just like, I'm thinking to myself, Mama, we made it. I'm just like so happy for her that I'm happy. And it's just like I just
Yeah.
genuinely got love for her like that, man. And it's just crazy how she got that effect on me. And it's only certain artists that I feel that way about. It's not a lot of artists. Like some artists I like their music. Like, for instance, Rick Ross. I love Rick Ross music. But as a person, I don't like him. I don't like him in interviews. I don't like what he talk about. Like I don't,
Yeah.
it's like I just don't think I would personally like somebody like Rick Ross. But you give me a Rick Ross album, I'm rocking to it. But I just don't
Did
have
you
that
see where he
like
went viral on Twitter? He was trending on Twitter maybe about 3-4 days ago because an old video surfaced of his show. It's called Something Rhyme. Goodness, where he had where they was like auditioning singers and stuff, and there was a light skinned girl. I forgot what her name is, but there was a light skinned girl that had redid one of his songs that was singing. She sounded terrible. Dark skinned girl got up, sung, blew it away. And he was like, I really like what this light skinned girl did with it. And they was criticized. They was going in on him on Twitter for that. So I totally get it. And
Oh,
that's a snapshot of the industry.
oh, I missed that. Oh
Yeah,
man,
you might step
it
out and
don't
find
su-
it on Twitter.
that,
It's trending. It was trending on Twitter.
but it don't surprise me. I mean, it don't surprise me. But I mean, you know, everybody they got their little things, man. You know, you hear this. I just heard oh man, who was that? Joe was just talking about this. There was some girl. She's the girl that date the baby.
Uh-huh.
She came out with a song
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
light skin and dark
Yeah.
skin, and like
Song
people was
called
killing
Yellow
her
Book.
for it. And then just
Yeah.
like I don't even get why this is a subject. Like I don't even know why this is like even a thing. I mean, now I know that. I mean, I'm not saying that it don't exist. I mean, we all can tell. Like when you look at ads, when you look at, you know what I'm saying. Back in the now they're trying to put more dark skinned girls in like makeup commercials, but it was always a light skinned girl.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that there's never been like a light skinned girl bias when it came to it, but it's just like man, we still here. It's 2021 and we still here. And it's like nothing is evolving. And it's like this
Right.
girl is coming out with a song talking about it, and then she has her, I don't want to call it excuse, but I guess her view of what she meant when she came out with the song and all of this. I don't know, man. I'm lost with people. People are,
I
I
get
don't
the
know.
outrage behind it. It's the fact that to me, it seems like a lot of guys they tend to like light skinned girls, or they like white girls, or don't typically like darker skinned girls. And for her to have the audacity to come out and put that song out after you just took the baby from his baby mama, and she's a darker skinned woman too.
Oh,
So that's why everybody, well, not everybody, but that's why a lot of people too was looking at it as you throwing shade, almost thinking like you think you better than her just because you light skinned. And that's, to me, that's kind of what the song came across as a woman. Because as a black woman, you constantly getting slapped in the face with finding a good man, because there's not that many good black men out here. If you're looking for a good black man, are they harder to find? I should say. So for her to put out a song like that was kind of like a slap in the face. And I think that's what a lot of women took it as. And her apology, she was just, when somebody apologized and they say, if I offended you, no, you offended me.
yeah.
That's not an apology.
Yeah, that's not an apology. If like, when you start
I
off with
couldn't
if,
take it
like,
seriously.
man, I didn't hear the song. Like Joe was talking about it. I heard
You
the
know, person
apology.
that. It's
I,
terrible.
I bet it is. Like I'm terrible when it comes to music. Like sometimes I don't even know how I even do a top 10 album sometimes because it's like I'm serious. I'm so stuck into like what I like, and it's just like it's really hard to get me out that box sometimes.
I
And
get
it's
it.
like there's artists that's in that bag, and it's just like anytime they come out with it, I will support them to the fullest. But then it's just like, oh man, this person got an album. It's like, oh, I ain't really into it. Now if I hear it, now I mean like now don't get me wrong, I jumped on a few people like 21 Savage kind of jumped on me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really a huge 21 Savage fan, and then when he dropped, I think I am. I really liked that album. But like some of these, I gave the baby a chance. I listened to Kirk. I like Kirk. It was cool. But like usually it's just like I'm in my box, man. Like I'm waiting on Cuddy. I'm waiting on Drake. I'm waiting on Rap. I'm waiting on J. Cole, Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z. Like it's just certain people like this. I mean, there ain't gonna be no more Max. I doubt it. Well, I did see something about. They said
It
that
might be. It
I
might
think
be.
it is. One of his friends, dude that produced some of his stuff, said that there was some more songs that was in the bag.
Yeah.
Um, but like, there's just like certain people, man. It's just like I'm waiting on them, and it's like somebody might drop, And then like I'm still like an R&B head, but R&B music that ain't like it used
Me
to
too.
be. Like I mean, it
It ain't
ain't
what
like
it used to
man.
be.
They
Yeah.
got Jasmine. Did you hear Jasmine new joint?
Yes. I was like, whoa.
They got her, man. They got her, man. The industry got her. That's not that's not. I listened to that. I was like,
It caught
I
me
mean,
off guard. I was like, whoa, we really singing about this? I'm like, whoa.
man, man. I was like, that ain't the Jasmine I know. That ain't lion, tigers, and bears, man. Like what is this? And I said, man, the industry got her, man. I was like, they got her. You know, I'm not saying it's a publicity stunt because she went on her tour. Like I listened to her on the Breakfast Club. She went on Joe's podcast. She went on something else, and they was talking about the album. Now she said it was some of them was personal stories, some of them was stories of people that was close to her and all this stuff. I'm like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I feel like you just, you know what like these guys, like some of these guys like to hear, and you
Yeah,
just went off of it, you played off of it, and you trying to get that come up
yeah.
because that don't sound like you, man. That's not your bag. Like there's certain girls' bags, but like her, like that ain't her bag. You know what I'm saying? And now she'll sneak into it,
Yeah,
like she did that song with Janae. You know what I'm saying?
true.
BS.
Yeah.
But when it comes to her stuff though, like she really don't do that. But they got Jasmine. I'm sorry, they got her.
I think the album spoke to women in the sense of the hoe that we'll never be, but the hoe that we think about being sometimes just because you see all the hoes get attention, but the good girls don't. So I think it spoke to women on that level, on something not that they would really act on, but something that some women wonder about. Because I have friends that they been through some of that she's talking about. Because it's a different time. So, but yeah, it really the stories on there. It threw me for a loop when Ari was on there too, and she did
I'm
her intro. I was like, whoa,
girl, I was like, man, I was like, what is this? Like this is not Jasmine, man. Like this is not Jasmine at all. Like I mean, look, it's cool, but
yeah,
I think it's a lane for that. I just felt that, the talent that she has, like she doesn't have to
yeah.
go that way. Now look,
I think
maybe
that's
I'm
part
not.
of her saying too. She don't want to be in a box. I think she don't want people kind of like what Rap did with Eve. She don't want to be inside that box. I want to show you that I could talk about this too, or I could talk about that, or I could talk about this. And I think that's what she did with that album. That was yeah, it threw me for a loop. It was good, but it threw me for a loop.
Yeah. Like I'm not saying it's not a good album. It was a good album, but it was just like, wow.
Yeah,
Like I'm not used to her being like that. But even some of the older stuff, like when I got old enough to actually like pay attention to the lyrics, and it was just like, man, some of these dudes and women in the '70s, man, like they was wilding. Like you didn't even, and they made it sound so good though. It was just like,
yeah,
you singing along to it, but you don't know what it means, and then once you figure out what it means, it's like, man, this changed this song forever. Like I don't
right.
even hear it the same no more. Like I remember when I first noticed uh one of my favorite Confunction songs is Love Train. And
Yeah,
like in the hook, like my man say he said he was like dial that number, no one answers till 2 o'clock. And then she calls back and he was like she said honey, sugar, she said how did it go? Like I really would want to see you, but someone's over, and I'd rather be with you. And it's like, damn, like I never noticed that. Like, who cheating over here? Like this is crazy. And
yeah,
like Mrs. Jones, I had no idea
yeah,
that was a cheating song. The whole song is cheating, and I had
yeah,
no idea. It's like they just made it sound a different way. So
yeah. We
I
was
don't
all
know,
singing that.
man. That's wild, yo. We've been bamboozled as kids. That's what I feel like.
I
Nah, but
want
I'm with
to
it
put
though.
you on to somebody else too. Since you like listening to podcasts, Rhapsody's friend YM Vaughn. I don't know if you are familiar with her, and I got her hat on right now. Matter of fact, she's got a podcast called Raise It Up Y. and she's talking about lifting people up higher, just keeping us up on higher vibrations, staying positive. I would like you to check that out because she made that podcast for Black men who happen to like hip hop.
Okay.
So she speaks from that kind of point of view and ties in whatever topic she wants to focus on the episode to hip hop. And she always uses a line from like a Jay-Z or a Rapsody or TLC. And I think she's just really dope. So I would definitely, you can tell too if you listen to her or listen to some of her podcasts, you can hear some of that raps about in the music. And I can tell that YN has definitely rubbed off on her as far as being positive and having confidence in yourself and loving yourself.
Oh yeah, man. So yeah, definitely send me the link, man. As soon as we get out here, send me the link to that, man.
Okay,
Because I'm
I
always
definitely
down
will.
to listen to some new podcasts, especially podcasts that's not. Because like I try to stay away from sports podcasts because I do a sports podcast.
Yeah,
So I try to have like my own ideas, even though I don't think that it would affect the way that I do it. I think you can pull different ideas from podcasts, but you still have to be yourself and do things that the way that's you're more comfortable with. So
yeah.
I might pull a little of this, a little of that. Like I know, like for me, like the person that I felt like a lot of people love, like Joe Rogan, and say he is the podcast king or whatever. Now, don't get me wrong, Joe Rogan is great, but I
Hmm.
only listen to people that I know. Like
Right.
he brings a lot of MMA people on. I don't care nothing
Yeah.
about all that.
Yeah.
But the person that I said if I, bring on somebody like you, like, we don't communicate unless we, send little messages here and there. But like I wanted to do like the person that I would model a podcast, with is do you remember Comeback Jack?
Heard of it. Haven't
Of
listened to it, but I've heard of it.
it was Reggie Osei. Like he died I think 3 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago now. But he did the Comeback Jack show, and I thought that the way he interviewed people was like mind blown. Like when I would listen to the Comeback Jack show, I was like, yo, like that's how I want to do a podcast. Like he just did it so well. But there's not that many podcasts like that out anymore. Like it's just really
Yeah.
like as far as that, like it's like Rogan and it's like really like nothing else. So I really never have anything else to listen to with that type of insight that you're talking about. There's not like really a lot more podcasts like that I'm interested in. I know a lot of people love the read. I try
Hmm.
to listen to the read. I just the read never pulled me in. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Well,
gave it a
make sure I
couple of
pick a good
podcasts.
one to send to you.
Well, I give it a shot. I definitely give it a shot. I definitely give it a shot. But man,
For
this one,
me,
this
the
one,
one that got me was where she was talking about relationships. She interviewed a whole bunch of guys from all different races, ages, and got their opinion on what women needed to hear as far as relationships that we're not hearing. Because we know as women, a lot of guys, it's hard to get them to communicate what they feeling or what they thinking, or because for most part, they pretty simple. As long as I'm happy, I'm pretty simple. But her breaking down and touching on that, I think you'll like that. But I'll send it to you.
okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. I'm
I think
always
your girl get a kick at it too, a kick out of it too, just because she's
well,
so.
that's the wildest things about like being in a relationship. It's just like, or it could just be that it's just the people that I communicate with. Like nobody rock with podcasts. It's like nobody. It's like nobody I know is
They
like,
don't know.
and that's why I was. That's why I was the way I was. Like Casey was just so outspoken about it, and it was just like I wasn't outspoken about it because it was like everybody that I knew they either didn't know what a podcast was or
Wow.
they just say that they just don't want to listen to people talk. So like that's why I never really like went around and promoted it like like he did, because I was like, because like even when it comes to this podcast that we're on right now, the 28 minutes or less, like I get like I'm in South Carolina. There's like I think it's like 5 states that I get more plays in South Carolina. I get more play in Ireland than I do in South Carolina.
Wow.
So it's just like that's what I mean by it's a grind. Like I have to find a fan base. Like I can't like most of the times, I'm like Cyclone would be the core. You think they will go outward. Like it's not. Like it's going like well no, what it's going backwards. Like it's going inward. Like I'm starting from the
Yeah,
outside and working my way in instead of in and working
yeah.
my way out. So it's just a little different. So it's just like even like everyone I talk to, they're just like, oh man, I don't really do podcasts and all this other stuff like that. So it's weird, but I mean that's why I eventually started like the Stolen Time by myself. Like the first episode, I was solo because like I didn't know nobody who was really with podcasts. And then like I talked to my homeboy Mark, and Mark was like, man, he was like, it'll really ring off if you get a a
Somebody to bounce
co-host.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I went to my uncle, and because I just know he loved to talk, and I and I didn't think that like we did the first episode, we did episode two, and he was just like, man, I love this. He was like, man, we need to do this every day. And I was like, well, if you down, like I'm looking for a co-host. Like I was just trying to have you on for a little NBA special, but he was like he was down to do it. So I was like, all right, well, podcast you don't do every day. I said we'll drop one a week. And that's how I ended up getting Uncle Washington on because he just
Yeah.
loves to talk and he just got so many stories and so it
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 brings
just
a
happened.
unique perspective to it, though.
Oh yeah, and then like I met Scoots, through Instagram, and then we formed this relationship with jumping on each other's podcasts, and then he ended up losing his co-host and dropped one podcast, and we started doing that one podcast together. So like, and that's another thing, like outward, like this dude is in Dayton, Ohio. What I'm saying we only met like in person one time, so it's just like I said, I'm on the outside, working my way inward. So, but
Well,
I
anytime
definitely,
you need a female voice, I'm here for you.
man, we definitely got to do this again. And Scoots also told me to tell you that, what I'm saying, if what I'm gonna do, we actually have to, we got to get back in the lab tomorrow. We doing the episode tomorrow, but we gotta get our list because we had our list up, like the movies that we've done up until last week, we had that list from I know like end of November. So like we had all our movies lined up, and it's like now we're to that point where we have to do that again. So when I get that list together, I send you over some, and see if there's anything that you're interested in a movie that you like, and we could definitely get you on. We can make that work. Try to work around your schedule because we know you the third shift. Yeah, that's what I told him. I was like, because I told him that you agreed to come on, and he was just like, and I said now it's just the fact of trying to get on her schedule because I was like, from what I was like, from what she told me, she worked third, so I was like, I know, man, the people on the third shift, but they different. Y'all are different kind of people. I I couldn't do third. I'm telling you,
I'm
I
used
could
to
not
it
do it.
now. I'm a night owl, so
Man, listen.
I was gonna say I'd have been to before that rally concert got canceled. I had been to 6 shows. When I met her, I got off from work that Saturday morning and drove to St. Louis and was a little late
Oh,
to go see her then. And I was like, man, I ain't got no energy. When I went to All Star Weekend, right after that weekend, she was in Columbus and Cleveland. And I went to her show in Cleveland and then dropped my friend off in Indianapolis. This is all in one day. Dropped my friend off in Indianapolis,
oh,
drove to Columbus, and then drove back home. I was so tired. I was so
oh.
tired, but it was so worth it. The show in Columbus was her best show I ever been to. It was so much love. She did your song, a roller coaster called Love. Oh man, she killed it too. You would have loved it.
Oh, oh, man, that is crazy. That is so crazy. I just literally just started like even doing because I never really even. I guess because I had, I mean, I've been raising a kid since 22, so I guess I just really never. I never really had that not really like necessarily like that time. It was just like I just really turned my focus. Like I was like a hands-on like parent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I worked
Yeah,
and it was
because you
just
want to be
all
what
about
you
my
weren't able
kids.
to be. What you didn't
So
get from your mom. So
yeah, so it was just and dad too, cause like I said, my dad is like we like buddies, man. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't really like son and father. Like we just like real cool. You know what I'm saying? We hit each other. We talk about sports. Like we don't talk about life. Like you know what I'm saying? We talk
yeah.
about sports and you know what I'm saying stuff like that, music and stuff. We don't even really. So I was just really like into that, and it's just like I ain't even think about going to shows and comedy shows and like I got into all that stuff like late. Like I remember I went to 85 South show back in 2017, and that was like the first time I like really done something. It was like you know what I'm saying like the kids are with a babysitter and like I'm really like going out and like doing something. Like that show was so fun, and it was like to see them go from that little tiny what's that club? The comedy club. The comedy club in no, the comedy zone in Greenville. From
Okay.
that little bitty club, and like we got a arena. It's called the Barnes Security Center.
Okay.
They were supposed to be there. What it was August. This was during the pandemic. It was August. Then they bumped it to November. No, they bumped it to December. Then they bumped that show as well.
Oh,
Now they
wow.
slated. I think they slated for sometime this summer. But it's just I was so happy to see that growth from just being in that little bitty comedy club to now they're doing arenas now, and it's just like it was just so great to see that come up, and they were so cool backstage. Like, cause I had VIP tickets, I went backstage. Like my
That's what's
son,
up.
my son Jacoby, he my youngest one, he loved watching Wild 'N Out. So I told him that we was going. So he said, "Would you tell them to tell me to tell them hey or something like that?" So I was like, "I'll see what I could do." So I went up to Carlos and I was like, "Yo," I was like, "If you don't mind, could you make a video for my son Jacoby?" I was like, "He loves watching Wild 'N Out." And so, he grabbed my phone, hit the record, man, he started, talking, and then he went over to Chico. Chico thought it was a call. So he was looking for him. And he was like, nah, just recording. So I didn't get to go to DC because their mama was talking to DC. So I was just like, well, she got that. But like it's just so cool to see how some of these guys are and
Yeah.
actually going out in the world. But yeah, I never really been to a lot of shows, so I'm hoping to, get into that more, especially when stuff open back up. Try
Yeah.
to, saying go to more shows, other stuff like that. Because I'm really happy. I'm hoping that when it does open back up, that rap from I finna say New York, but she from North Carolina, so I know she gonna be somewhere near me. She gonna either hit Atlanta or something. So she gonna do something
She
to
gonna
where
do
it's
a
gonna
show
be.
in her hometown. She gonna get her day.
Oh
I
yeah, oh
need her
yeah,
to get her day in her hometown where she gets all
oh yeah,
that hometown love.
oh
So
yeah. That's what.
disappointed that the show got canceled because she said she was gonna do it too. If but the governor of your state, the governor of North Carolina was like, nope, and shut everything down. But yeah, she's gonna get her. I wouldn't been surprised if Jay showed up because I remember J. Cole when Jay-Z showed up to his show in his hometown in North Carolina. I felt like that day was about to happen for rap.
Yeah, Fayetteville. Yeah, you know what? I am so terrible at this. I ain't even asked you like, you know what I'm saying, what the pandemic been like for you. I just jumped straight in.
What
But
pandemic? I ain't been on no break. Nah.
man,
We shut down on Ford for maybe like a month, and then we've been working ever since then, working a mask, hot, air blowing. It's been rough. People catching COVID. They not notifying us, letting us know that, hey, somebody just worked beside me, got COVID. You might want to go get tested. It's been crazy. Blessed that I haven't caught COVID because we didn't have plenty of cases at Ford from people that don't take it seriously and wear their masks like they supposed to, or keep their distance like they supposed to. But blessed, just blessed that I haven't caught COVID yet.
Man, yeah,
So
I hear
I've
you.
definitely been exposed to it many a times.
Yeah, I've said the same thing. I've been blessed that I had a job where we didn't shut down at all. Bro, we
Yeah,
got
I'm trying to
busier.
know.
You
Y'all
know what I'm saying?
delivering packages like
Yeah,
crazy.
we got busier, man. So I was blessed to have a job to even have a job. You know what I'm saying? With
Yeah,
people losing their job. So let me ask
right.
you this, and I'll let you go. Are you breaking out? Because I'm telling you, I'm
Yeah,
getting pimples, man, all up in
yeah,
here. Man, listen, my
yeah.
sister's going to a dermatologist right now because her face is breaking out so bad from wearing the mask. It's just it's I don't know. They say it's something we're gonna have to get used to. They was like, even if this vaccine, they get everybody back because they say the plan is to have everybody vaccine by the end of the year, and they say that things could start back opening up. I heard that Dr. Fauci say, August, somewhere around August, things are gonna open up. But I'm still hearing that masks is still gonna be a thing though. So
Yeah,
we
because you
gonna
got a
see.
lot of people that don't want to get the vaccine. We don't know how long the vaccine lasts. And now with the new strand that has come out, they don't know if it's effective against that. So we don't know. I don't think it's gonna be back normal for a while. And I think when they do start having concerts and stuff, it's not gonna be the same. It's gonna be way more expensive because they
Oh
got the
yeah.
cover costs and you can't have as many people in there. So ugh. I
Yeah.
actually got to meet J. Cole too when I was in Raleigh. I came to Raleigh before to meet to go to a Dollar in the Dream tour. But we got there too late because of course it's not too far from his hometown.
Yeah.
So me and my sister was hanging out in the hotel and I was just like, man, let's just go out and just walk around the arena. So we went outside and ended up walking in the alley behind the concert venue and he came out, signed autographs. Humble dude.
Ah,
That's how I got to meet J. Cole.
that's what's up. Look, in my ass, I'm excited about. I told Rap happy birthday on Instagram the other day, and she liked my comment. And you just running into J. Cole just by accident. But I mean, look what I'm getting excited about.
Because we drove.
I saw,
Oh, I can say this. I feel you. She done liked a couple of my comments. She answered a couple of my questions. She stay on social media. I'm like, where you sleep? My goodness. But she stays on social media.
cool
You don't
people,
see
man.
it, but she stays seeing everything.
Yeah, man. That's why I hope the best for her, man. 'Cause like there's like I said earlier, it's only certain artists that really get it for me, and she's one of them, man. And I would love to be there. Now I could have that day, but it was just I seen all those people up there, and it was just like, man, I'm not about to just really, because
I feel you.
I'm not really big into like running up to people and asking for pictures and like I don't know, like I just feel because I feel like they go through that all the time and like they might like I just watch. Have you had a chance to see that Tiger documentary yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh
I
man, like
listened to the podcast though, and I heard y'all talking about it.
man, it was like this one part stands out to me. Like it's just all of these people around. And he keep the smile on his face the whole time, but a camera mic picked up. He was just like, "Fuck me," like but he kept the smile the whole time while he said it. Like lip barely moved. It was just like he hated the fame. Like he hated taking pictures and all that stuff. And I just feel like they're all that way. So it's just like I don't want to bother them with that. I'm just gonna lay back, be cool. But I don't
That's what
know.
makes me think rap is cool with where she's at right now because she could still go to the store, still do normal people stuff without being harassed to take a picture or sign an autograph.
Yeah, she seemed real
And I
cool, man.
think
She
that's a
said,
good place to be at too, because I don't think I wouldn't want to be no celebrity either, where you can't even go to the store or go to the mall or the movies without somebody bothering you.
"Yeah, that'd be aggravating, real aggravating." Candace, man, listen, this was awesome. This was fun. Um, like I say, I truly appreciate somebody like you being able to. I mean, I guess I had to do something right for you to keep listening because I don't think that you would just keep listening if the shit was trash. If you felt that it was trash, so it'd be like, man, this dude came up at me at this show talking about this podcast. That shit was trash, man. But but I appreciate that you appreciate, you know what I'm saying, the type of art that I'm trying to put out in the world, the space that I'm trying to have. Like I said earlier, I'm not clout chasing. I'm coming with, with history, with, with facts and stuff that I love to talk about. I would never change my podcast for, one person. Like I remember one of my cousins, he's a truck driver. He told me one time he asked me about some podcasts, and I asked him was he still listening to mine. He was like, "Well, I was," but he's like, "All you talk about is social issues and sports, and I don't want to hear it." I was like, "Well, that's what I do though." So I was like, I'm gonna stay in my lane. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. But he ended up coming back. He said he still listens. But I mean, for you to see the vision that I have, and I mean, I'm truly grateful to have somebody like you. Like Scoots told me, like I told Scoots about you. He was like, dude, he was like, man, you got a real fan. He was like, I ain't got one. He was like, man, he was like, you got a real fan that really listens to your podcast. And he was like, man, that's why you the OG. Because I don't know why everybody keep calling me the OG. I mean, I guess because I got him by a couple of months. Because I believe I started in July. I think he started probably like late December or something like that. So that everybody say I'm the OG. But I appreciate you listening, you sharing uh ideas. Like I took your idea. We got the movie that we're gonna do for Valentine's Day,
Okay.
by the way. So you know what I'm saying? I take ideas in. I shared it with him. He was like, that'd be dope. So maybe I'll tell you the movie off air, but we picked the
No,
movie that
no,
we're
let it
gonna
be a
do.
surprise. Let it
Let
be
it
a
be a
surprise.
surprise. All
Yeah,
right, cool, cool. But I appreciate your support. I appreciate you coming on to the podcast, and I'm gonna hold you to it because you said if I need a female voice,
hit
you know
me
what I'm
up.
saying, I can come to you, and hopefully we can do this again. I truly appreciate
Definitely.
you. You are a gem out here, man.
I'll be back
You're a
down that
gem.
way soon. I'll be back
Now
down that way soon to see rap or somebody.
somebody, man, they about to start some shows somewhere. Now they're doing comedy shows, but I guess
Yeah,
comedy shows is a little different from concerts, and they're doing a little halfway thing with sporting events. So hopefully this stuff opens back up and we able to get back out in the world and try to do this again at some point.
definitely.
Definitely, man. Listen, I appreciate you. We will definitely be in contact, and thank you for coming on.
No
And
problem.
this was man, episode 34. This was a great one, man. This was
You
a
got to chop
boat.
it down and edit it out. It went so long.
Oh nah, man, ain't cut nothing out. Man, we talking about hey, this like Big Sean was talking about that one song that he did.
Oh, what he did with all the Detroit rappers.
Yeah, he said he didn't
Yeah,
cut him. Like,
I
hey,
think
you
it's like
M.
12 minutes long.
Hey, you M. He didn't cut any M verse. I ain't
Yeah.
cut none of your verse.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
holding,
Compliment.
holding, holding all that, holding all that.
That's
So
what's up.
I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Most
And
definitely.
for the next time, this was episode 34. Uh, please go rate, subscribe, all that stuff. Go to the Stolen Time Podcast Network for the YouTube and 28 minutes or less on all major platforms. I appreciate everybody for listening, and I'm out.